Oh, I guess we don't have our, there's our screen. I forgot to turn on the cat. Let's turn on the cat. Well, it looks like the cat's still charging, so we'll give it a few more minutes on that. So how's everybody doing today? We're going to have an ad in just 2 minutes, so I don't want to get too far into it. Still trying to figure out what I want to work on today. Got a couple of projects we can play with. One is a Pokemon. Working on a little Shinx pattern for that. We could always finish our little halfling prototype, and or we could work on another tic-tac-toe set. I was thinking I might do a pride one of these, could be fun. This one's strawberries with strawberry blossoms for the pieces. But then it also folds up into a little bag. Or we could work on, I've also been putting together some little quests for my camera's all wonkadoo. There we go. I'm teaching a kids crochet class, and so since they're all kind of at different levels, I thought having little quest cards where we could give them their goals for the week or two until the next class. Maybe time to some of my simpler patterns. Still trying to think through that, so we could always think through that on stream too. So the ad should be starting in 30 seconds. So I will see if I can get the cat camera back up by then. Let's see what I can do with the cat. Nope, still not charged enough. Okay, well, I'm sure when the cats get up to some shenanigans, we will have the camera ready. Another minute of our ads. All right, almost back. All right, looks like our ad's finally over. So since I'm panicking a little bit and getting ready for a class tomorrow where we're going to use our little quest cards again, I think I'm going to work on those projects, because then I can also edit the video down to give them videos they can watch after the class. So I think that might work really well for our time today. Oh, and here come the cats with their shenanigans. So if the cameras start falling, we'll blame the cats. All right, so Storage Thrower and I taught a kids class a couple of months ago. We taught for 3 or 4 sessions, something like that. And so one thing we did, because we knew there were 9 and 10-year-olds and then one 5-year-old, that they might all progress at different rates. And so we put together some little skill cards that we played with, and it kind of worked. It jumped around a little bit, and I'm thinking I might tie each one of them to a different pattern too, so they have a little project they can choose from. and they might not all want to do the same projects, and different kids. The new class we're doing, it's more of a kids crochet club, and so they're going to drop in when they feel like it or when they can. And so they all might be working on different projects at different times. So we're really just there to help them with their project. So I think having just little simple projects that they could work on in less than a week and then get another project the next time. Plus then they get free patterns, which is kind of fun. So anyway, so I'm just going to go through the cards and see what changes I need to make to our basic thing. Also, I encourage them to use Woobles type yarn. I picked up some of these in the past because it really does help, especially the really younger children, because you can use bulky yarn, but it splits some, and I find that this braided yarn works really well for kids, especially that may have that their fine motor skills aren't quite as developed as older kids or adults. So that's a skill builder. So basically we started from the very beginning with some of them, or with all of them, but then we figured out where they were. Plus it's a good way to check off where their skills are so that from week to week we don't have to keep track of them, or to remember which kid was at which level. So, because if we saw them every day like a teacher, it would be a little different, but we don't. So anyways, so this first beginner quest is pretty simple. We teach them how to hold their hook and hold their yarn and create a slip knot. And so one of the ways I teach them to do a slip knot is just to hold the tail down and get a little more yarn and draw a circle, and then you pick up the circle and put it over the working yarn, and then you pick up this part right here, and that gives them their working slip knot. Oops, I mean they're backwards, but. And then there's a lot of different ways to hold your yarn, but I hold it between my fingers like this so that I can keep good tension. And then I like to pinch my work, so I make little shadow puppets. I also want to make sure I'm in the frame. This is kind of zoomed in weird. Hold on. All right, that's pretty good. All right, so I'm going to do the slip knot again in case it was off the screen. All right, so basically we have our tail of our yarn. We draw a circle. We lift up the circle and put it over that part of the yarn, and then we pick up this part of the pretzel and pull. And that gives us our slip knot, and it's a slip knot because we can make it bigger and smaller. A lot of different ways to hold your yarn. I hold mine between my pinky finger and over my index finger, and then I fold it where I can pinch this working knot or close to where I'm working with my middle finger and my thumb, because that gives me a lot more control over the tension and the project. So then next we teach them how to chain. And so to chain, you can see that the slip knot is kind of like an upside down raindrop. So let's see that real close. So when we're trying to pull our yarn through, if we yarn under and just try and pull, it's going to get stuck. So we like to turn it where the bottom of that hook is going right through that teardrop, and it makes it a lot easier to go through. So we go under the yarn and turn our hook and pull it through. Under the yarn, turn our hook and pull it through. And really for the first lesson, I'm pretty happy if that's all they learn. So we teach them to do 10 stitches. Maybe I'll just move that to 25, maybe. What did we do there? Oh, right, because we were doing friendship bracelets. Let's see how many we need to make a friendship bracelet. And it kind of depends on the yarn too. You know what? I bet we could do this where it has there's a way to tie the knot where it becomes adjustable. Let's try that. So if we just fasten this off, we have our chain, and then we cut a long tail at the beginning and end, pull it through, and then we just tug on it, and that ties off our end. So there's a way to do friendship bracelets where if we overlap them like this, and tie part of a knot. Oh, I don't want it quite that tight though, or quite that far. Shouldn't have done such a good job tying that knot. All right, so we have our bracelet, and so I think we want it to not have too much more overlap than maybe that. So then we think I might need to make the chain shorter for this. But basically, if we it's doing the first part of a knot on each end. Then we can slide it. You can pull it shut. I think it's supposed to, yeah, I'll try it again. I think I need to put less chains. So I think what we want is about 15 chains. So we have more of a gap on the opposite side of our wrist. So once we have our slip knot, I'm going to chain 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Just want enough to kind of go around the wrist. Okay, that should do it. Then we're going to repeat the same thing where we so that's tight enough I could put it on. This may be a little too complicated for our first class, but I just want to kind of see if I can get it to and we do this side. There, so now oh well, I'm going to have to look up that technique. But basically it's so that once it's on, we can tighten it up. I think it might involve a few more twists than that. But anyway, so there is our basics for our bracelet though. So let's see. So that would be if we did 20 stitches, and then we teach them to count them and fasten off their work. And then we have them pull out their work, which is, you know, they don't have to, but eventually they do that one way or another, so it's easy for them to get that checked off. All right, so if we do friendship bracelets for the first one, I even have a pattern from the Craft Yarn Council for that, so that could be kind of fun to incorporate friendship bracelets or necklace. Just have them chaining, because honestly, just getting used to how to hold their work, keep good tension, and chain is really the main goal of the first lesson. I don't like having them jump ahead if they can help it. And then for the second quest, I'm kind of torn between, in the past we've had them do a flat monster. So basically it's a square that we fold in half, and then they add safety eyes. So I think some of these skills, let's see. So we'll have them learn a single crochet. Identify first and last stitches, because that's kind of hard. Well, not hard, but important to know if they can turn, you know, do a row and then turn. And keep edges straight. So for this one then, we will have them, we will start with a slip knot again, hold the tail, make a loop, pick it up, put it over, pick up this loop right here, and pull. That gives us our slip knot. Then we're going to chain, I don't remember how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Maybe 20. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That looks pretty good. Maybe 21. So we'll have our turning chain. So chain 21, turn, let's see, 20. So I think all I had them do was single crochet all the way back. So 1, 2, through the loop, grab the yarn, pull it through, grab the yarn, pull it through both. Through the top loop of the chain, grab our yarn, pull it through. With 2 loops, we yarn over, and again we're rotating that loop hook and pulling it through those 2 chains. Through the chain, grab the yarn, and pull it through 2. We just keep repeating that the whole time. And so, I'm not going to do it too slow the whole time though. So let's get to the end of this row and we'll show how to turn. I'm almost wondering if I should have them do it horizontally instead of vertically. Because I was having them make a square and fold it in half. I'm almost wondering if I make a large rectangle, the way they would stitch around it might be better. Because when they sew it closed, they sew it closed on 3 sides. And so we might do that a little different. All right, so in our last stitch here, we should have 20 single crochets. And so then we are going to chain 1 and turn, and then go back the other way. So we're going to go through, when you do the second row, we have our V's on top. So we're going to single crochet, we're going to go under both of those top stitches, grab our yarn and pull it through, yarn over and pull it through 2. Through the 2, pull the 1 through. I think we're going to do this with just 10 stitches. I'm going to make a really long rectangle though. I think that'll be cool. So then we can decide how big our monster will be that way. All right, so we do Lots of different ways to make slip knots too, but this is the more visual one, so it's a little easier to show when they're learning. All right. So we're going to chain 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That will give us 10 stitches as we go back. I'm going to try it one more time. All right, so we're going to do our slip knot. You hold down the tail, draw a circle, and then you pick up the circle and put it over your working yarn so it looks like a pretzel. Then we pick up this loop here and pull. So that gives us a slip knot that we can pull and it'll get smaller. And so then we put our hook through the loop and then we hold our yarn. I like to go through my pinky, over my index finger, and then make shadow puppet bunnies by pinching where my work is here. You want to basically keep the yarn tense enough that this isn't too wobbly here. It'll give you the best tension as you work. So we're going to do 11 chains. So we're going to go under the yarn. I'm going to rotate the hook so that it lines up with this upside down teardrop of a loop here. So it should pull through pretty easy. Yarn over and pull through. Yarn over and pull through. We're going to do that 11 times. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so we have 11. So then we're going to go back and single crochet in 10 stitches. So each of these little V's is going to be a stitch, and we're going to go in just the top little side of each stitch. So we don't go in this first loop because if we did, it would undo where this yarn is coming through. So we're going to go to the second loop here. We put our hook through. You can see there's a top loop, a bottom loop, and there's even a little bump on the back. So we're just going in that very top loop. Hello, Catzilla. You certainly are taking your time today. Usually you invade right away. All right, so let's give ourselves a Catzilla moment. There, you've already invaded the stream 9 times. Are you proud of yourself? Okay. All right, so we put our hook through that loop. Is our camera working? It's being weird. Let me try that again. Okay. Hopefully it wasn't hung up the whole time. All right, so we've chained 11. And then we're going to put our hook in that second chain from the hook. We're going under the yarn or putting the yarn over the hook, pulling just through that first loop. Now we have 2 on our hook. And we're going to go under the yarn again and rotate it and pull it through both loops. So that's our single crochet. Through the top of the chain, grab our yarn, pull through, yarn over again, and pull through. So through the chain, grab the yarn, and pull it through 2. Through the loop, through the chain, grab the yarn, pull it through just that bottom loop, grab the yarn, and pull it through both. So we're just going to do this all the way along here. 2 parts. Through the bottom, grab the yarn through, grab the yarn, pull it through 2. Grab the yarn, pull it through 1, grab the yarn, pull it through 2. Through 1, through 2. Through 1, through 2. Through 1, and through 2. All right, so we have 10 stitches. And how you can count them is you kind of look at it from the side, and each of these V's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stitches. And so we have our first one was this first V as at the corner, and our last one is right under where our hook is. So we're going to chain 1, And then we're going to single crochet all the way back across. So we turn our work around. The only difference from the last row is that on this row, you can see the V's on top. We're going to go through both of the stitches on top. And every other row will work this way. So through the V,